Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a video about me turning 40. Oh my god, 40 years old. Wow. Trust me you guys, when you get to 30 you're like, oh my god, 40 is so far away. You sneeze and before you know it you're the big 40. I've still not accepted that I'm 40. I mean, that's just gonna happen. I'll be 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. If I live to my granddad's age, I'll be turning 100. So, you know, it just came out of nowhere. Like, I knew it was coming, and like now here it is. I've only been 40 for what is it? Today's Sunday. Tomorrow's the day of the Queen's funeral. So it's been 5 days. I turned 40 5 days ago. I've had an amazing time celebrating my birthday. I'm not gonna lie, I literally started celebrating about 6 weeks ago. Me and my best friend went to the Dominican Republic to celebrate my birthday in August. One of my best friends threw me a birthday party with loads of my friends. It was amazing. And on the actual day of my birthday, I went out with my mum, dad and my brother, just the four of us, a family, just so that we could celebrate it together, just as I wanted it to be. So my birthday celebrations themselves have been perfect, just exactly how I wanted them to be. So the purpose of this video is basically just to talk about me turning 40, what I've learned, things that maybe you guys wanted to hear. I actually put out the question on Instagram as well as on YouTube, and I said that I'm going to film a video about me turning 40. And it's not often that I post any kind of personal videos. I'm not really somebody who talks about their personal life on social media, which has unfortunately led to a massive range of assumptions about me. But rather than correct people, I just let them assume, because I don't really care what other people think about me. Always a good attitude to have, and I've had that attitude throughout my entire life, not just because I am now 40 years old. So I said, ask me anything that you want: experiences, health, career, love life, goals, aspirations, whatever it is, and I will answer within reason. So let's start off with YouTube first. So one person, they've asked me actually a couple of questions. Could you tell us a little bit more about what your job entails? Okay, so I work in marketing. I'm a marketing manager, stroke head of marketing, stroke marketing director, whatever you want to call me, because I'm the only one in the company that does the marketing. So I'm in charge of all the marketing. My degree itself was in marketing communications, and pretty much since I graduated, I have continuously worked in marketing and steadily worked my way up. When I actually started university, I started a law degree. Okay, I completed a year of law, hated it. I decided to do something that I was always really good at, and I was excellent at business when I was in school. I did business studies at GCSE. I did it for A-level as well. And yeah, so I decided to go into marketing specifically because marketing's always been very fascinating to me. The way that you can manipulate people's minds to part with money, to me, is really, really fascinating. It's all about psychology, consumer behavior, understanding consumers, the way that people's minds work. And basically, it pretty much what I even do on YouTube. You can talk about this as marketing. I'm not paid by anyone to do these videos. I always give you my honest opinions, but it is still marketing at the end of the day, especially when I'm promoting something to you guys, which I think is great, and you will go out and buy it based on what I've said. I've manipulated your mind into purchasing it, right? So that's basically what marketing is. My experience is quite varied in terms of the industries that I've worked in. So I've worked predominantly in the property, real estate market. I've got financial services. I used to work for a FTSE 100. I worked for a school. Where else? Property again. So generally speaking, I've stuck to property. Property is not an easy thing to market, because it's not like you're parting with £5 or £10. These are people that will be parting with 3, 4, 5, 600,000 pounds. So in order to get people to part with their money, that large amount of money, is very, very hard. But I've excelled in my career. I'm very happy where I am. The 40s, let's see what it brings. I mean, I'm always open to more challenges, learning more stuff, especially on the digital side of things. Because when I graduated from university, Facebook was still new. The internet was still relatively new as well. And things have changed a lot over the past 10-15 years. Next question is, give us some experiences with bad dates. Okay, let me think. Shall we talk about the two brothers that were fighting over me, and one that basically tried to grab my head to kiss him? Sexual assault, let's call it what it is. And yeah, that wasn't too fun, to be honest. Called me a whiny baby who was lying about their age. I don't understand why men do this, especially to women like me who just so happen to look younger than they actually are. Yes, I'm 40. I'm not lying. I'm not making it up. The fact that I look young for my age is nothing more than genetics, being brown and using good skincare and staying out of the sun. It's daylight right now, I'm sitting in darkness, mostly because I can film properly. That wasn't even a date, that was just an instance, and I wasn't too happy about that. Women, don't ever put up with any kind of bullshit. Always be confident to say no. And even when you've said no and someone still tries something, scream, because that's exactly what I did, and I ran. But a bad date, okay, an actual bad date, it ended with, after 3 hours, the guy telling me that he was in love with me, red flag. And this is one thing that he did right during the date. He went to the bathroom, fine, had to washed his hands, which is obviously always a good thing. I felt something slimy on my leg. And I looked down and he was touching my leg. And I was like, okay, so firstly, why are you touching my leg? And why is your hand wet? Do I look like a towel? Man's using my leg as a towel. I was like, that's disgusting. Like, your slimy wet hand is on me. And then he also insulted my handbag, which was a black Zara bag, by saying it would look better if it had the Chanel logo on it. Elitist, snob. Talked a lot about his mum, mummy's boy. And then he also showed up looking like a hobo. Like, I show up, if I'm going on a date, I'm making an effort. Now, bear in mind, it's a first date. I'm not going to go, like, dressed like this. Okay, so, but I looked cute. I looked smart. And he came in some shabby tracksuit bottoms with a t-shirt, which I swear had paint marks on it. And I was just like, talk about making an effort. He lied about his age as well, which I wasn't too happy about. And I only realized that when I was asking him certain things that somebody of my age group would know, and he didn't. And I was like, I don't get it. Aren't you 39? Because this was, obviously I've only been 40 for a few days. I said, you told me you were 39. He was like, yeah, no, I'm 46. And I was like, why did you lie? I mean, he looked good for his age. He could have passed for 39. I was like, why did you lie? And he goes, well, I didn't think you'd be interested in me. And I was like, I'm not that shallow, but the fact that I can see that you're a liar does not bode well for you. So when he asked for a second date, trust me, there was no second date. And that was one of many things. So yeah, that completely put me off. So that, in my opinion, was a bad date. Do you live in an area with Pakistani descendants? As in my relatives? None of my relatives live near me. If not, do you go shopping in any of those areas? And are there expectations from you in the way you behave and interact with people versus how you are treated in other areas? Okay, well, I live in London. I live in London, that's all I can say. I mean, it's a very multicultural area. I live in northwest London. I wouldn't say that there are more Indians. Actually, there are quite a few Indians where I live, or more white people or whatever it is. And in terms of shopping in those areas, I mean, the closest Asian shopping area to me is Southall. And I go there if I need to. I mean, my mum goes there more than I do. But generally speaking, I don't really go there. I mean, I'm not really on the market for a sari every other day, you know, that sort of thing. Fruit and veg I can just get anywhere near my house. Like I said, I live in there's lots of Asians where I live, so there's lots of Asian shops if I need to. I don't have to go to Southall. The way that I behave and interact with people versus how you're treated in other areas. I behave and interact with people exactly the same way no matter where I am, because you are the same race, religion, gender as me, makes absolutely no difference to the way that I treat people at all. Do you have any bucket list vacations? Tokyo, you guys, #1 on my list. I need a new job for that though, because I need more money, because I am not going to somewhere like Tokyo and going there broke. I need to go there rich, or I need to go there with lots of money so I can spend loads of money and just do everything that I want to do. I want to go to Nintendo Land. I want to go Mario Karting around the streets. How do you feel women who are 40 and above are treated in the UK? I mean, bear in mind, I've only been 40 for 5 days. And also bear in mind, most people don't know that I'm 40. They don't know that I'm 40. And even when I was 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, I was always assumed that I was younger. That, again, that's just my genetics. It's not a brag or anything like that. So in terms of how women are treated, I can't personally say myself. I get told that I'm a liar by a lot of men, unfortunately. When I say my true age, for example, if a 25-year-old is trying to chat me up and I'm like, bro, I'm 15 years older than you. They're like, why are you lying? Why don't you just say you're not interested instead of lying about your age so that that can be your excuse why you don't want to be near us or give us your phone number or whatever? I mean, so in that respect, I can't really say, because if anything, I'm still infantilized in many ways, which irritates the hell out of me in terms of the industry that I work in, which is male dominated. You know, I'm considered a dolly girl. You know, she's dresses up and does her hair and makeup. She's young, stupid, bimbo. And it is literally the complete opposite. A lot of these people who assume that my character is a certain way or down to my age or whatever it is are actually younger than me, and they don't realize it until I open my mouth and I start speaking. So in terms of how women are treated, that's as far as my answer goes. I'm sorry, it was a bit of a rubbish one, wasn't it? Your favorite types of movies? Oh my god, I love like fantasy films like Lord of the Rings. Who's watching Power of the Ring right now? Liking it so far. First 2 episodes were rubbish. The last 2 were actually pretty good. I'm one of them Harry Potter, Marvel, DC kind of people. I don't really like rom-coms. I find they're all cheesy and just a bit I'd rather watch a Disney film. Love Disney cartoons and things like that. Just started watching the new Pinocchio on Disney Plus. I'm not into like espionage and things like that. Like James Bond, yeah, maybe. Crime dramas, not so much. I'm literally one of those people who lives in a fantasy world. I've been like this since I was a child. I've got a very short attention span because a lot of the time I'll be daydreaming about random stuff. I don't know if that's got anything to do with being a Virgo. Maybe it is, who knows. But I love fantasy kind of films, like something that could never happen just so that I can imagine that it maybe could. What else do I like? I love fighting films, kung fu films, martial arts films. I love loads of them. I watched an entire series on Netflix not that long ago. What was it called? It was called Rurouni Kenshin. I think that was like 4 films, Japanese. So it was subtitled. All the Ip Man films, loved them. I mean, I've been a huge fan of Bruce Lee since I was a small child. I mean, he died before I was even born. So I love those kind of films. I don't mind westerns so much, but I think that's like the old school spaghetti westerns, and that's my parents' influence. You don't really catch me watching guys films, if that makes sense. Like I really like those cheesy kind of The Rock kind of films. I like films where I can have a laugh. I do like comedies, but generally speaking, I'm more of a fantasy action movie kind of person, like Marvel, like DC, like I said. Can you tell as you age what your very important life lessons are looking back? Along without everything you used, which product did you keep and hanging on to that showed a result in youthful skin? Well, again, I can't lie to you guys, it's genetics. I've also been moisturizing my skin since I was about 12 years old. Makes a massive difference. No fine lines, thank God. Alhamdulillah, so far. Your very important life lessons looking back. Stop, think for a second, then speak. That is definitely my biggest life lesson that I would have for anybody. So many of us are just so quick to open our mouths without thinking, end up saying something hurtful, something that we regret. Sometimes you just shouldn't say something that you're thinking about either. So I would always say stop, think for a second, then open your mouth. And someone said, you don't look 40, no way. I know, but you should see my birth certificate. Unfortunately, that don't lie. All right, let's go on to questions from Instagram. Many happy birthdays, which I appreciate. Thank you very much. How did you first get into makeup, and what is your most prized makeup item? Oh my god, how did I first get into makeup? Well, to be honest, if you're talking in regards to YouTube, now bear in mind, and all you have to do is go onto my channel, click on the page which says videos, click on the oldest. I was in my 20s then, you guys. I miss my hair. My hair was so different then, but then that's medication's done this to my hair. It's made it normal. Anyway, so I first started my YouTube channel sharing makeup, which when I look back, it was appalling. Don't know why anyone followed me at the time. It was because I was constantly looking for women that looked like me, people that looked like me, so that they could help me with my skin tone. It was always difficult. As somebody who's born in the 80s and grew up in the 90s, trust me, we've all been through that stage of buying orange Body Shop foundation. And the range wasn't that big for us when we were younger either. When I was like 18, 19 years old, yeah, there was a couple of ranges in Boots. They sold 3 shades of white and there were no brown shades. And the only brands that had bigger ranges were like Estee Lauder and stuff, and I'm sorry, a 19-year-old me couldn't afford that. So it was very difficult for me to try and find the right kind of makeup for me to wear. So when I finally started figuring out things for myself, I thought I'd love to be able to share this with other people who I know are in exactly the same position as I am. And that's basically how I got into makeup. I've also been a very creative person. That shouldn't be a surprise to you guys that I work in marketing. I'm a creative person. I need a creative outlet. My entire being is different, creative, unique, sparkly, fun, colourful, all of those things resonate with me and my personality, and makeup definitely plays a big part in that. My most prized makeup item, oh my god. Oh, that's a difficult question from a makeup YouTuber, you guys. That's a mean question. I'm gonna have to sit and think for a second. All right, I figured out what it is. It's not necessarily a brand or a particular product, but it's foundation. So I've done a video of this in the past. I hate my skin, blah, 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 whinge, whinge, moan, moan. My skin has changed a lot since that video, definitely. I started using a derma roller, not that I've used one in about 2 years. And I started taking a lot better care of my skin. And my skin has definitely transformed itself. But if I really think about it, foundation is the one thing that I've always loved the most, to be able to even out my skin tone. Even though my skin is so much better than it used to be, my forehead is still darker than the rest of my face, and I still have quite bad pigmentation in places as a result of teenage acne. When I say I used to wreck my skin, you guys, I used to do things like take a pin, light a fire on the end of it to make it hot, and pop spots. That is disgusting. Don't ever do that. It's unsanitary. You can get infections, and it can leave massive pitted scars in your face. So as a result of that, I've always been a little bit insecure about how my skin is. Well, it used to be. I'm not insecure about it anymore, trust me. Foundation, I would definitely say, is the one thing that always used to make me feel a little bit more confident in how I look. Can you tell us more about your love life and experiences, if that's okay with you? Okay, so I'm not going to go into massive details, obviously, because my private life is still my private life. I have been in relationships in the past. I didn't get to 40 years old by being single for the past 30 years. If anything, I got to, it was just before COVID when I became single. And I actually sat down and had a big think about my life. And I realized I've never actually been single since I was 17 years old. There were gaps here and there in between, a couple of months here, a couple of months there. But I'd never actually been single since I was 17. And I thought, who am I, Charlena, as a person, without always having a partner there? Because you end up forgetting who you are. You don't even realize who you are, what you are. You don't even realize who you are as a person, how you've grown. 17 to, how old was I, 37 or something at the time? That's 20 years. I've grown a lot from, in those 20 years, a lot has changed. 17, I was still in college. 37, I'm well into my career. I've lived life, I've traveled, I've done this, I've done that, and whatever. So for me, it was definitely a time of reflection, time of inward looking, to find my own journey, to find my own path. And also I just needed to heal myself, because my last relationship was so goddamn awful that it literally could have killed me. So I needed that time to myself to just be me. And I just remember one day standing in my garden during lockdown, and I looked up at the sky. There were stars in the sky every single night because nobody was allowed to drive anywhere or anything like that. And I had a moment, like an epiphany of anything. And I just said to myself, oh my God, I'm free, I'm content, and I'm happy. And I've never been this happy in my life. I know who I am as a person. I know what I want from my future. I know what I want from my own aims and goals that I've set myself. And none of those include a man. Now, that may be hard for some people to understand. Now, I'm not saying I don't want a companion for life. A companion is somebody who will complement me. However, they won't be my be-all and end-all. Am I okay with being alone for the rest of my life? I definitely am. I've got such an amazing family, and I'm not just talking about my immediate family, I'm talking about my extended family as well. My family is very, very big. And then my friendship group. I mean, I've got my best friend. She's got 3 children, my 2 nephews and niece. One's my godson. I've got my brother's daughters around me as well. I've got amazing friends. And am I really that scared of being alone? No, I'm not. How can I be alone when I've got so much love around me? One thing I've definitely learned from my relationships is that people can change, and not in a good way. People, the older they get, the more that they grow as their characters develop. And some people go in the right direction and some people go in the wrong direction. And I found that with a previous relationship that person did not grow with me. They grew against me. And I wasn't willing to settle for that. My last relationship almost destroyed me as a human being, and I know that's difficult for some people to understand, that somebody, I mean, I had that from my own friends as well, somebody as strong and confident and outspoken and knows what she wants, like Charlena, was going through such a hard time. But people are very good at keeping secrets. People are very good at hiding things. People don't want to be judged. People don't want to feel humiliated and degraded. So we keep a lot of things to ourselves. So I can definitely say that learning from past experiences has made me a lot more tougher than I was. Sometimes that's not always a necessarily good thing, because it just means that I'm a lot more unwilling to trust people as well. But it also means that I am excellent at spotting the red flags. I can spot them a mile away. Why do you think that from then to now, the only dates I've ever been on has been one date? There ain't no second date, because those red flags have thrown themselves up at me straight away, and I'm like, nope, not doing that again. Happy birthday, lovely. I hope it's a great one. As somebody with PCOS, do you ever worry you won't become a mum because of your endometriosis? 100%. I've mentioned this before. Endometriosis is an illness which has no cure. It's a disease which has no cure. And it basically, one of the side effects is it can affect your fertility. Now, I was diagnosed with this when I was 28. I had 2 operations. It turned out I had stage 4 endometriosis, which is the worst. It'd been undiagnosed for a long time. My stupid doctors wrote on my notes that I had IBS. Based on poking my stomach, they diagnosed me with IBS. I had to have them remove that off my medical records once I realised that they'd even put it on there. And it took a female gynecologist to say, she's got endometriosis, why are you not taking her seriously? My period pains used to wipe me out, to the point where I would collapse, faint, vomit, diarrhea, all of it, the rest, backache, leg ache. It's like somebody's taken a hot knife, 100 of them, and is stabbing you left, right and centre, to the point where you want death to come. That's how bad it is. So I take a medication to manage and control my endometriosis, which is basically the oral contraceptive pill. Don't even get me started on the judgment of taking that alone that I've got from so many people. There are so many ignorant people out there that seem to assume wrongly that the pill is literally just for stopping pregnancy. And then as soon as you mention that, immediately you're branded some sort of sleep around tramp who just has unprotected sex with loads of people, without realizing that the pill has actually got a lot of benefits for many women: regulating periods, helping with the flow, the heaviness, the pain, and in my case, dampening down and stopping the growth of my endometriosis, which is linked to my periods. So in terms of the question, are you worried that you won't be able to become a mum as a result of it? Yes. I don't care whether or not I have a partner for life, but I definitely care about whether or not I have a child. Now, I have thought about loads of different things. Freezing my eggs, I don't really want to do that. It requires me coming off the pill, and it sounds very invasive and a bit and also, who am I freezing it for? An imaginary man that I've not met yet? If that day comes, I'll think about it then. Also, just because I have endometriosis doesn't also mean that I won't be able to have children. Now, because I do take the pill and I take 4 packets back to back, which covers off 3 months, I actually only have a period once every 3 months, which is great. Which actually means that a lot of my eggs are still in there, still hiding away and having a nap. Yeah, that is probably my biggest concern, and it has been for quite some time, about whether or not I'll be able to have children. But it's in the guy upstairs' hands, so who knows? Please talk about the desire to have babies but no alpha males to conceive with. Again, going back to what I just said now I have to address the whole alpha males thing. I think alpha male, alpha female, beta and all that stuff is some societal construct to kind of differentiate strong personalities against not so strong personalities. And I don't really think that's right. I remember not long ago, I was in a pizza shop with my mate and we were getting pizza, obviously, and the guy said to us, the guy behind the till said, which one of you two is the alpha female? I'll speak to her. So my friend just went like that to me. I'm the more organized one out of us two, which is mostly why she said that. But why am I being categorized as an alpha female? Just because I know what I want from life. I've got a strong personality. I have opinions. I'm well read. I'm literate. I'm educated. That is the reason why I have opinions on things. I'm not somebody who's my way or the highway. I'm always willing to debate with people. So in terms of meeting a guy, it has to be one who's got a strong personality like mine. I can't have somebody who's just going to go, Yes, Charlena. No, Charlena. Which is all good and well. I'm sure loads of women are like, yeah, I wish my man was like that. No, I want one that's going to come back to me and say, actually, Charlena, I don't agree with you. And this is why. Have you thought about things like from this perspective, from that perspective? That's how you grow together. But a weak man, not for me. Advice and tips on when you have low days and what you do to minimize any negativity. I have low days all the time. My God. One thing I can talk about is my health. Over the past 10 years, the amount of allergies I've developed. So let's see, I'm now allergic to latex, which you guys know because I did a video about it. In terms of, I found out I was allergic to latex because I developed blepharitis on my eyes. And it was from the eyelash glue. I was using the Duo one. And I was also blowing up some birthday balloons for my godson once, and my lips started going tingly. I was like, bro, I'm allergic to latex. I suffer from allergic rhinitis, so I have to take a daily antihistamine, a prescribed one. I've now developed allergies in my eyes over the past few weeks, so I've had to change my contact lenses. I now use antihistamine eye drops. I have eczema, I have endometriosis, I have something called thoracic outlet syndrome, which killed the muscle in my hand. So you can see here, you see that fat bit there? That's your opposable thumbs. Mine's dead in that hand, can you see? Which is why when people have made fun of me the way that I hold a pen or a lipstick or stuff like that, I'm like, you know what, calm as a bitch. Make fun of my disability, which has happened as a result of being born with an extra set of ribs because I'm just weird. And there's that. What else is there? I developed plantar fasciitis in the past year from doing skipping in my back garden because of lockdown. People with high arched feet should not skip, as well as people with flat feet, and I've got high arches. What else? God, there are so many things that I could be depressed about. You know, my toxic last relationship. I could cry about that for years and years and years. I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, and I don't have the patience to be sad. When I'm sad about something, I might cry for like 30 seconds, 20 seconds. My eyes also don't produce that much tears, which is why I've developed allergies, so I can't even cry that much. It isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm just not somebody who allows themselves to be sad, because at the end of the day, our happiness is dictated by us. When you are sad, you are choosing to be sad. And I've always been of that mindset. You know, they say misery loves company. Think about when somebody is around you and they're unhappy and they're miserable. It can literally come and stick itself onto you, and then you become miserable as well. I just am not like that. It's just my character is not like that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm happy and like farting out rainbows and unicorns all day long, but and I do have my low days, and what I generally tend to do is keep myself quite occupied. My YouTube channel, my editing, my videos keeps me very occupied. If I want to take my mind off things, I'll go and chat to one of my friends. I'll go speak to my mum. I will go and do something endorphin building, go and do some exercise. I also practice yoga, which is something that I've been doing this year for 4 years now. Can't do a headstand yet still, because I'm scaredy cat. I can do a baby one, I can do a tripod one. But I do a lot of things that make me happy. So despite the fact that something bad may be going on in my life, I like to remind myself of all the good things that are happening and focus on them. And I also remind myself that even though I'm having a bad day today, I'll go to sleep, wake up with a new perspective, and it's a new day. And how that day goes is very much dependent on me. So that's it for all the questions. I've gone through pretty much all of them. Some of them were the same as other questions, so I just answered them all together. What else can I say? One thing I do have to say is that when I look back at my last decade of my life, my 30s, they weren't good. They weren't good at all. And you can guess why. I've already, you know, kind of alluded to it, why it wasn't good. But that was just one aspect of it. But unfortunately, that one aspect dominated my 30s and dominated my life on an almost daily basis. It spilled out over into my friendships, into my job, into everything around me, into my family life. And now that that's not there, I cannot explain to you how happy I am with life, how much more appreciative I am of the people around me, the ones that stuck by me. And I'm actually looking forward to my 40s. You know, I'm so much more wiser, I'm much more confident. I'm a lot smarter at the way that I approach things, the way that I see things, the way that I behave, the way that I talk, the way that I interact with people as well. Another thing that you need to remember is the older you get, the people that you called your elders, whether they be parents, uncles, aunties, co-workers, or whatever it may be, you're old enough to open your mouth now. You know, I think a lot of people are so worried about that whole disrespecting their elders that they don't ever actually speak from their heart, whereas I frankly speak to a lot of people now, so are you happy in your marriage? That sort of thing. Whereas 10 years ago, you wouldn't hear me asking somebody that. You know, I'd be like too scared to ask a question that I really want to ask. Obviously, I ask in a respectful way, but there are so many more things that come with age, maturity, the way that you handle your money. I used to be terrible with my money when I was younger. Your job, your outlooks in life, where you see your career going, where you see yourself going, traveling. Oh my God, I've done so much traveling over the past couple of years. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to my 40s. I hope that my 40s are a lot better than my 30s were. Now, I don't want to finish this video on a downer. I've got so many things to be grateful for in my 30s. I became an auntie for the first time. I saw both my beautiful baby girls being born. I love them to pieces. One is 8 now, one is 4 years old now. People around me got married. They also had children. They've settled down. They've got good careers. They're happy in their lives. I love seeing other people in my life happy because their happiness makes me happy as well. I've never been a bitter, jealous, resentful, hateful person. That's just not in my nature. And I think that's got a lot to do with being raised by my mum, who's a disabled woman, and she's been disabled since she was 2 years old as a result of catching polio in the 50s in Kenya, which is where she's from. And because she's never had that negative mindset, which of all people you would think somebody who has become disabled could have that kind of mindset, she never has done, and she's always passed on that kind of personality onto me. I would say always be grateful for what you have rather than being resentful for what you don't have, basing it off of other people's lives, because we don't really know what goes on the ins and outs of other people's lives. Taking things at face value isn't always a good thing. People will only let you see what they want you to see, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the truth. So sometimes when we look at someone and go, oh my God, they have everything, I wish I had that, they probably don't have any of those things. They probably wish that they were more like you. This is why I always advise and say that it's always best to be happy with who you are as a person. Learn to love yourself as a person and watch yourself grow and be proud of who you are and the person that you're becoming. The journey and the path of our lives never ends. It's continuous up until the day that we die. So that's the way that I like to approach life. I mean, for now, I'm very, very happy with where I am. I'm very grateful with all the things that I've got. There are things that I want out of my life that I'm striving to move forward towards. I don't think anybody should ever procrastinate with their life, because in a blink of an eye you go from 30 to 40, then 40 to 50, then what? So as much as you keep telling yourself, I'm going to do it tomorrow, I'm going to do it tomorrow, I'm going to do it tomorrow, the only thing holding you back is yourself. Whether it's fear, whether it's laziness, whether it's, you know, whatever it could be, do it. Today is the day to do these things. Don't wait until tomorrow, because tomorrow may never come. You never know. I also want to say a big thank you to all of you for coming with me on this journey. All these years watching my videos, helping my channel to grow. I couldn't have done it without you guys. And I'm looking forward to you guys joining me in the next decade going forward. Love you all. Bye.